Today on Rappler.
Ito pong first batch, base sa mga dokumento at base sa mga kwento ng whistleblowers, ito nga yung mga habitual na series of transactions na hindi lang isa, dalawa, tatlo. At paulit-ulit ginamit yung mga Napoles NGOs.
Senator Estrada, Enrile, and Revilla face plunder charges for the pork barrel scam. The military launches airstrikes against MNLF rebels on day 8 of the Zamboanga city siege. And UN Chief Ban Ki-moon will present a report on Syria's chemical weapons. What a day it has been. Hello, I'm Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. It's plunder charges for Janet Napoles and her alleged network of conspirators for systematically diverting funds to fake non-governmental organizations. Among those charged are 3 senators and 5 congressmen. Natasha Gutierrez reports.
A truckload of evidence, whistleblowers, and a case investigators call airtight. About 2 months since details of the pork barrel scam was made public, the National Bureau of Investigation finally files charges at the Ombudsman. Lawmakers are accused of conniving with alleged syndicate head Janet Lim Napoles to siphon development funds commonly known as pork barrel.
Ito pong first batch, base sa mga dokumento at base sa mga kwento ng whistleblowers, ito nga yung mga habitual na series of transactions na hindi lang isa, dalawa, tatlo. At paulit-ulit ginamit yung mga Napoles NGOs.
38 face criminal charges, but what makes it so explosive? It's a rogues gallery of supposedly honorable men. 3 senators, Juan Ponce Enrile, Jingoy Estrada, and Bong Revilla, are charged with plunder, along with 2 former members of the lower house, Rizalina Cichon Lanete and Edgar Valdez. 3 other lawmakers face charges of malversation, bribery, and other graft and corrupt practices, including former Congressman Rodolfo Plaza, Samuel Dangwa, and Constantino Haraula.
Why do we say plunder? When said lawmakers each accumulated more than 50 million pesos, which is the, as you know, yung pong threshold amount for plunder, through a series of transactions over time, through misappropriation, conversion, misuse, and malversation of the cash value of the project cost allocated from the lawmakers' PDAF. Doon naman po sa tatlo, bakit ho hindi plunder? At bakit ang recommendation lang po namin is for malversation, direct bribery, and other graft and corrupt practices? Ay dahil yung pinaka-basis po ditong yung threshold na amount, yung supposedly kickback nila, the commission, the rebates from Napoles, less than 50 million, although yung kanilang total PDAF allocations ay more than 50 million.
The list also includes 8 staff members of the lawmakers, 5 heads of agencies, and 10 employees, and 6 bogus NGO presidents. The 38 person facing charges, Napoles herself.
The 38 individual being recommended to be charged for plunder in the case of as co-conspirator, in the case of the 5 lawmakers being charged for plunder, and also as a co-conspirator in the case of the 3 other lawmakers being charged for malversation and corruption of public officials, is Miss Janet Lim Napoles, the owner of the JLN group of companies and believed to be the mastermind of the PDAF scam operations.
But this is only the beginning. The 38 names are only the first of 3 batches of cases the NBI plans to file.
Next week, we will file the Malampaya, the case regarding the Malampaya scam. And then hopefully the week after next, the second batch of the PDAF scam complaints. Yun po ang plano po ng NBI.
The ombudsman must now evaluate the evidence, a process that will take weeks given the mountain of documents. De Lima says she will issue a lookout bulletin for the 38 respondents to monitor their movements. All are free to leave the country until the case reaches the courts, except Napoles, who is in jail. Historic. This is the word De Lima uses to describe the filing of the first batch of cases. Will this be enough for an angry public that marched in Luneta? Will Big Fish finally be put behind bars for stealing the people's money? Natasha Gutierrez, Rappler, Manila.
Responding to the plunder case filed against them over the pork barrel scam, Senators Bong Revilla Jr. and Jinggoy Estrada deny involvement in the scam and ask the public not to judge them. The two are among those accused of endorsing fake non-governmental organizations for their pork barrel in exchange for kickbacks. Senate Minority Leader Juan Ponce Enrile, also a respondent in the case, missed Monday's Senate session. His staff and allies say Enrile was rushed to the hospital Saturday because of high blood pressure. In a statement, Enrile says the plunder case is filed after, quote, an incomplete, hasty, and partial investigation. He adds, let me make clear that I'm innocent of the charges filed against me. Holding back tears and with his voice cracking, Revilla tells reporters, I ask the Filipino people, do not judge us. We will explain until the very end. Like Revilla, Estrada says he will face the charges against him but uses a stronger tone.
Sapagkat ako po ay walang kinalaman sa anumang kamalian o katiwalian sa paggamit ng PDAF allocation sa Senado. Handa ko pong sagutin at ipaliwanag sa lahat ang mga ito sapagkat kailanman ay hindi ko dinungisan o balak dungisan ang pangalan ng aming pamilya.
Estrada also belittles the case against him, saying the evidence is just the Commission on Audit report and the endorsement letters.
If the sole basis for plunder are the endorsements of the COA report, I don't think endorsing an NGO is a crime.
Senate President Franklin Drilon says a warrant of arrest will effectively suspend lawmakers charged in the pork barrel scam. In a television interview, Drilon says the non-bailable offense merits a suspension because, quote, the lawmaker is prevented from reporting for work. The Department of Justice filed plunder cases against Senators Bong Revilla Jr. and Jinggoy Estrada. Plunder carries a penalty of life imprisonment and perpetual disqualification from public office. Drilon earlier said legislators cannot be suspended until they're convicted because Congress has the power to discipline its members. But on Monday, Drilon says once arrest warrants are issued, the lawmakers will be under the court's jurisdiction. Drilon says the controversy taints the Senate's image, but adds it's going through, quote, a cleansing process. He adds, it's difficult to process, but it's our obligation to strengthen this institution of democracy. It started Monday last week. About 200 Moro National Liberation Front rebels entered the coastal barangays of Zamboanga City and took about 180 hostages. The ragtag army is a shadow of the old MNLF, which negotiated a peace deal with the government in 1996. This attack was their show of force in defiance of the new peace deal the government is hammering with its breakaway group, the Moro Islamic Liberation Front, now the more dominant rebel organization. Carmela Fonbuena reports.
It's day 8 of the Zamboanga crisis. It's not over, but government troops are making headway against the faction of the Moro National Liberation Front, led by Commander Javier Malik. The MNLF shut down the city, turning 4 barangays into a battleground. Government statistics say at least 62 are dead, over 100 are wounded, 70,000 are evacuated, and hundreds of houses razed to the ground.
Our forces are working doubly hard, using all our assets that is available for us in order that we have a speedy resolution. And of course, keeping in mind always the safety of our civilian populace, most especially our hostages, that their lives may be preserved and so does the other civilians who are trapped.
For the first time, airstrikes are used targeting Rio Hondo, a coastal barangay where Malik is believed to be holed up. The military says the rebels are down to 100 from the original 200 who attacked the city. Malik, the top aide of MNLF founder Nur Miswari, says he is ready to die. The rebels continue to respond with their remaining might. There's also fear that fleeing rebels could launch attacks outside the battle zone.
To the barangay officials, please be always on alert. The enemies are fleeing the areas of constriction, and so you have to set up early warning systems and set up ways to ensure that people roaming in your barangays are legitimate residents of your area.
Even as government steps up attacks, residents remain terrorized. The standoff has dragged on for too long. The Zamboanga crisis does not end with the military defeating Malik's forces. The standoff has brought Zamboanga City down to its knees, severely damaging business, tourism, and the morale of the people. The next challenge is how to rise again. Carmela Fonbuena, Rappler, Zamboanga City.
The Moro National Liberation Front releases at least 26 hostages Monday evening. The Zamboanga City government's Twitter account says the official list of hostages will be released after they're screened and processed. Zamboanga City Councilor Benjamin Gingona says 3 of the hostages are injured and are now being treated. The Human Rights Watch says an estimated 300 civilians are trapped in an ice plant building in Barangay Rio Hondo, Zamboanga City, while others remain trapped in at least 5 villages. The group says soldiers stopped some civilians from leaving while others fear getting caught in the crossfire. In a statement Monday, the group says residents fear they would be accused of being rebels and could be, quote, subject to government attack or mistreatment in custody. Human Rights Watch Asia Director Brad Adams says government forces should not be making blanket assumptions about whether individuals are rebels based on whether they have proper documents or not. The group also says the military may have violated the laws of war by stationing forces in a hospital. State Weather Bureau Pagasa says the low-pressure area east of Luzon develops into Tropical Depression Odette. As of 4 p.m. Monday, its center is spotted 930 kilometers east of Casiguran, Aurora. It's forecast to move west-northwest. No storm warning signals are up, but the tropical depression is expected to enhance the southwest monsoon, bringing rain over parts of Luzon. The White House announces U.S. President Barack Obama will make his first trip to the Philippines in October. In a statement Friday, the White House says Obama will travel to Indonesia, Brunei, Malaysia, and the Philippines as part of his ongoing commitment to increase U.S. political, economic, and security engagement with the Asia-Pacific. Obama will be in Manila October 11 to 12. Manila will be Obama's last stop. Malacanang spokesperson Edwin Lacherde says Obama will meet with Philippine President Benigno Aquino to, quote, discuss ways to further strengthen the enduring Philippines-U.S. alliance, including the expansion of our security, economic, and people-to-people ties. Obama's visit comes as both countries negotiate an agreement that will allow increased rotational presence of American troops in the Philippines and give them wider access to the country's military bases. United Nations Chief Ban Ki-moon is set to reveal the findings of a UN investigation team of Syria's chemical weapons. He will present the report to the UN Security Council in New York at 11:15 a.m. That's 11:15 p.m. in Manila. The UN report will influence any attempt by the Security Council to agree on a resolution backing the Russia-US accord on the dismantling of Syria's chemical weapons. On Sunday, a Syrian minister calls the U.S.-Russia deal, quote, a victory for the regime of President Bashar al-Assad. In Geneva last week, U.S. State Secretary John Kerry and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov discussed the plan to destroy Syria's chemical weapons by mid-2014. Syria's information minister says Damascus would commit to the plan once it has United Nations approval. Well, let's now look at Rappler's Wrap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 5, U.S. State Secretary John Kerry warns the threat of U.S. military action against Syria remains, in his words, real. This comes a day after it struck a deal with Russia to destroy Damascus's chemical weapons stockpile. Kerry says, make no mistake, we've taken no options off the table. The U.S. earlier warned of a military strike on the Syrian regime after a chemical attack last month in Damascus. At number 8, A pair of converted military drones are the U.S. Space Agency's newest tools for tracking hurricanes and tropical storms. The two Global Hawks began operating as NASA drones in 2012 to improve forecasters' ability to predict hurricanes. The drones operate in most active months of the Atlantic hurricane season. And at number 9, a Filipino-language rock opera on the life of Filipino saint Lorenzo Ruiz is staged at the De La Salle College. Lorenzo is a play within a play, a postmodern story where the artistic process that leads to the creation of the play becomes part of the story. The play is directed by acclaimed Nonon Padilla and features the music of Ryan Cayabyab. For the full top 10, visit Rappler.com's The Wrap. Derrick Rose, the youngest player to win the NBA's Most Valuable Player award, is in the Philippines for the last stop of his Asian tour. On Saturday, Rose watched the Adidas 3-on-3 Grand Finals. He holds a press conference Monday before heading to the Mall of Asia atrium to join a video game contest in the afternoon. In an interview with Rappler, the Chicago Bulls star, who's coming off a knee injury, explains why he decided to sit out this season despite being cleared to play.
I had to think about my future, and at the time I wasn't 100%. I wasn't able to take on the double teams, so I knew that I could get around one person, but two people, I wasn't ready for that at first.
Rose, a Chicago native, looks up to NBA great Michael Jordan. When asked which other player he admires the most, he pauses before answering.
I'll have to say, that's a tough one, man. Larry Bird. I think for someone to be not athletic and still like go out there and score 40 points in an NBA game, like that shows you how hard he worked. He just outworked people. So like I can understand that, like I can relate to it.
Every story on Rappler has a mood meter, which gives you 8 emotions to choose from. Click how you feel and your vote comes down to the mood navigator in the middle of the front page. That crowdsources the mood of the day. It also gives you the top 10 stories that have affected our readers the most. These 10 stories have gotten the most number of votes on the mood meter. If we look today, it's a fascinating story they tell. We take a look, the story that's dominated headlines over the last week. Javier Malik, we're ready to die. He spoke to Rappler's Carmela Fonbuena yesterday. The stories from Zamboanga tend to all be this. Red, 58% angry. Glenda Gloria's Miswari Myths and the MNLF Context, 65% angry. But interestingly enough, when you go to the other major story of the day, the press conference, DOJ press con on cases versus lawmakers in the PDAF scam, you have 85% happy. The plunder complaints that were filed against Estrada and JPE and Revilla, another 87% happy. Fascinating though, if you look, the story that's gotten the most votes today, lawmakers face the PDAF scam cases. There's 52% afraid and then only 5% happy. However, if you put all of the happy votes together, the green dominates today. Most people are happy. Historic, in the words of Laila de Lima, filing of plunder complaints against lawmakers. That is Rappler's Newscast for today, Monday, September 16, 2013. Visit Rappler.com and watch our newscast Monday to Friday. Tell us how you feel on our mood meter and help us crowdsource the mood of the day. I'm Maria Ressa. As we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today.